Hey everybody, welcome back. We are working on our biographies or our autobiography about a special person that we've chosen, and we're documenting and explaining all of the special things that have happened in their life. So let's keep going. So today we're learning to write a conclusion paragraph. We're going to be revising and editing our work. To be successful today, you're going to be including how the person will be remembered. You're going to revise your work using the checklist and edit using the checklist as well. So the steps in the writing process that we're up to at the moment is finishing off our draft. We're also revising and editing today. And just looking at the features or what needs to go into each of the parts of our autobiography or biography, we can see down the bottom it says conclusion. What are they doing now? How will they be remembered? So those are the questions that we're going to be answering in our writing today. So have a little think about the person you're writing about. What are they doing now if they're still alive? How will they be remembered? So think deeply about what you would like to say for those two questions. I've had a go at doing that for my text about my grandma, and because she has already passed away, I was really just answering the second question, how will she be remembered? And I've turned my plan into more detail for my concluding paragraph. Shirley's long life allowed her to touch the hearts of many friends and family members. These people all think of her as a kind, compassionate and caring person. They are inspired by her life and hope to be as fantastic as she was. So just a little brief information about how she's going to be remembered. So please pause now and do that too for your conclusion. Now, this is the amazing part. We have written an entire biography or autobiography. Woohoo! So my biography about Shirley Ruth Bovell, I've got my introduction up here at the top, introduction. I then have my 3 event or life event paragraphs. I've spoken about her family, I've spoken about her life accomplishments and major life events. And lastly, what we've just done is we have written a conclusion. So those are all the things that we need to include into our biography or autobiography. Well done. We've finished drafting. Now that we have finished drafting, we're going to have a little look at the next step in the writer's process, which is revising. You're going to use the same checklist that you used last week to revise your work. So the first one says, my introduction briefly covers the 5 W's. So you're going to go through and you're going to check that it's got that. If it does, give yourself a smiley face tick. If you've missed 1 or 2 of them, give yourself a straight face. If you don't have it, sad face, and you need to edit and put that information in. Next one, I wrote the piece in the first person or third person. In this case, we're writing in the third person. We're writing about somebody else, not about a personal experience. So make sure you've got all of your work in the third person using he, she, they, them. Next, my piece was written in the past tense. So we're talking about things that have already happened. Next one, I named specific places and people, and they of course need to have capital letters. I used time conjunctions. Have you included some time conjunctions telling us when things have happened? Next, I wrote the recount in chronological order. So you kind of need to think about this when you're writing your recount as well. We don't want to start with talking about, in the last year of their life they did this, but when they were born, in their childhood, they did this. So we want to have some type of flow chronologically. Next, I use paragraphs to help the reader to show when there was a change in time or place. Make sure that you actually have 5 paragraphs. Introduction, first body paragraph about a life event, second body paragraph about accomplishments, third about major events in their life, and Oh, sorry, fourth. And fifth, of course, the conclusion. So make sure you do have all 5. And the last one says, I concluded with an overall comment of the event. In this case, we're talking about how the person's going to be remembered or what they're doing with their life now. So go through and check off each of those things one at a time. So let's have a look at this and revise my piece of work. First thing I need to be checking for is that my introduction covers the 5 W's. Who, what, when, where, and why. So let's have a little look and spot those different features. Who? Shirley Ruth Bovell. When? Well, she was born on the 15th of July and she passed away on the 9th of March 2021. What? Live life to the fullest. She's a seamstress. All information about what she did. When, we've got where. Well, that most of her life happened in Melbourne, Victoria. And some events that have happened. We spoke about the fact she got married, she raised a family, and that she's an inspiration. So all of those things show I've got my 5 W's. I can give it a little tick to show I've got those. Next one, it says I wrote this piece in the first person or third person. In this case, we're writing in the third person. So I now need to skim and scan my text to make sure I've got everything in the third person. That means I'm using the pronouns she, he, her, him, they, them. So one way I can actually check for this is by skimming and scanning and seeing if I can see any personal pronouns, words like I, me. So I'm just going to skim and scan and check that I don't have any of those words in there. I don't. So I know that I have used third person. So then I can give myself a tick. Well, that one was a bit better. I can then look at the next thing. My piece was written in the past tense. Okay, am I saying things about what's currently happening? No. So I can skim and scan and check that I've done that as well. When I've done it, tick it off. If I've made a mistake, fix it up. So please continue doing this. So pause now and revise your piece of work using the checklist, going through the whole checklist, one item at a time. Now that you have finished revising your work, it is time to do some editing. For editing, what we're going to be focusing on is making sure that we've got the correct capital letters, correct punctuation, spelling, and that our text is organised correctly. Those 4 aspects. Like we did previously, we're going to be looking for each step and then moving on to the next one. So the first thing we would be looking for is capital letters for the start of a sentence. So we check through our whole text. Have we got that? If so, tick it off. If not, fix it up. And we'll be going through all of those different parts. Capital letters for names, capital letters for places, capital letters for days of the week, capital letters for the pronoun I, hopefully we don't have any of those in there. Using the correct punctuation, so full stops, question marks, exclamation marks and commas in the right places. Checking our spelling, so identifying words that we think might be spelt incorrectly and then fixing them up. And organising, making sure that it's readable. Have you got finger spaces? Have you got a paragraph with then a spare line, a free line before the next paragraph? If you don't, it jumbles into one and it's really tricky to read. So particularly with that last one about paragraphs, if you haven't done that and you don't have spaces, put like a little star so that when you're publishing your work tomorrow, you can spot that, oops, I made a mistake there. I now need to leave a line in my publishing. So let's just have a look at the first part. It says, checking that I have a capital letter for the start of a sentence. So we can then go through and make sure that every start of a sentence has a capital letter. Yep, capital letter there. Here's the end of the first sentence. Next word, capital letter. Next sentence, another capital letter. Another capital letter, capital, look for the full stops, yep, another capital, got it. Okay, I can see in those first 2 paragraphs I've got capital letters for all of them. I would then check the rest of my list of my work, making sure that I've got capital letters for the start of every sentence. When I do, give it a tick and move on to the next section. So please pause and have a go at doing that now. Awesome work, guys. So just to revise what we've been doing today, we finished off our drafting by writing our concluding paragraph. We're talking about what that person is so special for and what people are going to remember about them, or if they're still alive, what they're now doing with their life. You then needed to revise your work and go through the entire checklist, making sure you've got all those things throughout your entire work. That means introduction, your 3 event or life event paragraphs, and the conclusion. And you need to do the same with the editing checklist. Your work is going to get published tomorrow, so make sure it's up to scratch. Have a good day and enjoy writing.